You know, in Washington right now, we have two kinds of stories. We have rumors and we have leaks. Now, and it's a critical distinction. The leaks are sort of coming as trial balloons, so that, you know, if there's anything bad to say about somebody, you get it out there during the leak phase. The rumors are coming from people who are sort of would-be candidates for this or that, and so the reporter will call and say, well, do you know who's in consideration? And you'll say, well, no, I haven't seen a list. And you say, well, would you like to be on the list? I'll write that in the story. And so, you say no. So we got these rumors and leaks, and just about everything has generated a rumor except the energy job. And so it'll be interesting because energy is as complicated as the econ in terms of where we need to go next.
Why do you think that is, that it hasn't? I mean, as you describe it, it's crucial.
Because I think it's complicated, and I think the President-elect Obama and the team know this is an issue. You've got to think about it differently.
And they haven't been able to convince Al Gore to take it.
Right, exactly. But think about the energy job, because it really, your usual Washington way would be to think of someone who comes from an energy-producing state, or someone from an industry, one or the other. Well, huge problems,
Bad idea.
Team
right?
of rivals.
So it's...
Yeah. Well, and it's tough because, you know, in terms of the politics of energy, you're going to have to forge a new path forward. We're sort of in two camps.
Yep.
One camp is, I was going to say, is sort of reflective of the incumbent vice president, but I won't say that. Is sort of the deregulate everything and
the
let
drill,
the market,
baby, drill.
Yeah, exactly.
Deregulate,
the drill team.
Deregulate everything and let the market just establish the price, and so that's how you get gasoline of $5 a gallon on Wilshire Boulevard, which in my own uninformed poll is the highest I've ever seen it in the country. So on one hand, they're sort of deregulate everything and let market price decide. And then on the other side is sort of the Dr. No world, where, you know, we know what we're for and what we're against, and we're going to have to rethink a lot of issues, and what we invest in, where our sources are coming from, but thinking fresh. And so it's going to require a coalition putting together good ideas, because there are enough votes on either side. You know, when the left and the right get together, it's usually not a good outcome. So energy is going to require a new consensus in the country. And so that may be why it's moving slower.
Right.
You've all worked with some of the principal actors who are now on the main stage. John Podesta, who's been heading up much of the pre-transition work and much of the transition work. Rahm Emanuel now, who's been named as Chief of Staff. Walk us through a little bit of the personalities and how you think some of this stuff plays out. What stuff is brought up to the president, and who are the decision makers at this juncture in, you know, how these things are getting done? And some of this, you know, unless you're in that room, you can't know 100%. But I think a lot of the people here, that's the great curiosity people have. How do these decisions actually get made? You know, even if you want to refer back to something that happened in the Clinton administration, tell us some of those stories or those conjectures you might have with those personalities in mind.
Well, Maria, I think you were probably more in the middle of that in your deputy chief of staff role than anybody.
Right.
She was Josh, by the way, from the West Wing.
Remember West Wing? He had my job. We just didn't make decisions walking down hallways, but...
But we were really clever in our repartee.
I think the first thing I would say is it really is that what you have are really, really smart people trying to do a superhuman job. You know, trying to staff the president, who has an awesome responsibility. So you very quickly, yes, there are egos and whatnot, but what you find is people are just trying really hard to do the very best job that they can, to sift through lots of information, to try to have a proactive agenda when you don't know what's walking in the door when you get to work in the morning. That, you know, there's Los Alamos fires, there's been an earthquake at Northridge, and things happen, and you've got to quickly, I mean, that's, for me, the hardest thing about watching Katrina, because I had managed disasters, foreign and domestic, and just the coordination. And Christopher Edley, my husband, had been at Office of Management and Budget, had given all this money to FEMA, and really built up FEMA, and watching what was not happening, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just, we were crying. And so it's your really hard jobs. They're, really smart, capable people just trying to do, you're not just, ball, they're eggs. And if a raw egg, and if it falls, it is a mess. So you're really walking around with a lot of stress. And so what you find is the best White House, I think, and the best White House staff is where you really have processes to ensure that the differing opinions and the differing perspectives have been winnowed out and crystallized so that if there is an easy answer, you've found it and can report to the president and make sure that he agrees with you. And if there's not an easy answer, that you've teed up the issue in as clear and precise a way so that the president can make the hard decision.